At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. We will begin with invocation by myself, and then we will have the presentations of color and Pledge of Allegiance, South Brunswick High School, JROTC. Please stand. Gracious Father, we come before you tonight to give you thanks for all things good and great. We thank you for the wisdom to continue to do what's best for all Brunswick County schools, and we thank you for allowing us to be here and all the blessings you've given us. We have one request, that when we leave tonight, everyone goes home safely in this weather. For it's in your precious name we pray. Amen.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order! Mark down! Mark! Right there! Mark! Forward! Mark!
Thank you, South Brunswick JROTC. In the absence of salutes and public address, we'll move right into presentations. Mr. Siemens?
All right. Well, happy Thursday. Instead of Tuesday, so last board meeting we started showing some of our hashtag #IFiredBeenDoing videos, and we started with the very first one. So I figured, which one do I pick for the following meeting? I would pick the very last one to date. And just to give you a little background on it, so I'm not just throwing a quick video up. I went into South Brunswick High School to talk with a couple teachers there who our principal of the year had alerted me to. And so I'm sitting there and, I've got my camera right here. I'm talking to them in the hallway about what they're doing different, their innovative approach inside the classroom. And they're talking to me. And while they're talking to me, I'm like, man, Dr. Oates was just talking about the need for these types of educators in the classroom with a modern classroom, as you would call it. At the principal's meeting, as a matter of fact, he had rolled out a video that kind of demonstrated exactly what you're about to see. So with that said, this is last Friday's #IFiredBeenDoing video, and it features two South Brunswick high school educators, one an exceptional children's educator and one a math teacher. And what they did was they've combined it to where these EC students can have the traditional setting of a traditional classroom, but then get that extra boost that they need. And this has quickly become one of my most favorite.
Yes, there you did.
Hold on.
Yes, there you did.
Call this
correct.
a tease.
Now you need to do this. 6.
So here we go.
Okay,
You ready?
yes, there you did that correct. Now you need to do this. 6. Okay, so we already got 6, right? So we're done. Those are all the factors of 18.
co-teaching inclusion class, there's 2 teachers.
Okay.
So I'm the EC teacher.
Okay.
And Ms. Burge is the math teacher.
Okay.
And it works great. This is our 3rd year doing it together. This year has been a big challenge.
Okay.
However, we have changed our style over and over. That been doing is gone.
And fired.
So, yeah, he's been fired. We started doing videos this semester, and I think it's helped them focus better because direct instruction just wasn't working. You know, half of them are listening, the other are drawing on the paper. Now they're working at their pace. So if they need to draw for a minute, they can, and then they can, go back to listening to the video. And it also is good in the fact that now I can give them that instant feedback because they can't get their classwork until their notes are done.
Some of them can watch it and get it and move on and get their classwork done and get enrichment materials. And some of them can watch it and not understand it and go back and watch it again, watch it at home.
So it helps with the rigor in the classroom too.
I'm Julie Elliott.
I'm Liz Burge.
And we fired Ben Dewey.
So that is that modern classroom, and I can tell you from just being inside the classroom when I first got there, they were in the beginning stages where it was more like a traditional classroom, where she's talking with the students, they haven't gone into their computers yet, and then when the lights turned off and they went down, they put their headphones on. I mean, you could feel the focus in that classroom. So that's just one of those things. It's exactly what you were talking about, Dr. Oates.
What I impressed upon the principals at the last principals meeting was the question I asked was actually how many of us have looked at YouTube to learn how to do something. And when we didn't get it, we'd stop it and we'd run it back and do it until we actually learned what it is we were trying to learn. So my question then was, why can't our classrooms be the same way? So when Daniel told me that I was going to be blown away by the next video, these teachers were doing this with no prompting, didn't have any clue of the request that I've made of the principals, because I asked the principals, how many of you have someone, if just one teacher in the building, that would be able to do something like this? Because it takes a lot of time to video yourself or just put together a lesson that students can go back and listen to and watch on some type of device. And most all of them raised their hands. And to know that we've already had these folks in our system that are doing what we call a modern classroom approach to learning is very encouraging. So shout out to those folks at South High.
Yeah, it was, just to wrap it up, they admitted that it was a challenge, and it's a little different because you've got to create that video beforehand. But like you said, we are all guilty of it. If you're watching that instruction, that lesson, and you need to go back real quick, you can go back real quick while the others are, still going ahead. So it kind of balances out. I thought that was, that we see it right there. So we've got a prime example of that modern classroom, and that's it. That's this week's I Fired Ben Doing video.
Thank you, Daniel. And thank you, Mr. Hodges, for encouraging that type of leadership in the classroom. At this time, Mr. Garza.
Good evening to you all. I can't tell how many times I've used YouTube to do small and big projects around the house. Got me thinking there. So just to give you a quick update on what we've been discussing at TAC, we're still, again, focusing on student advocacy, making sure that we hear our students and we advocate for them. 2 topics, that and our how we plan to maybe provide an alternative to approaching future rallies and walkouts from a teacher perspective. So in January, I provided this timeline to give us a sense of direction for TAC to what we were doing, and I'd like quickly just to kind of show you what's been going on in our county as far as the perspective of our teacher leaders from TAC. There were a few things that stood out at our last TAC meeting. We discussed a lot of the things that we've been hearing in the county as far as water quality and whatnot. But one of those things that caught my attention was our Teacher of the Year from Union Elementary, Miss Amanda Cottrell, talked about how our students were being heard at Union Elementary. And this may be something you've already heard, but again, this is kind of why I'm here, because of our students. So there was a student-driven concern for type 1 diabetes at Union Elementary. If I'm not mistaken, there's 4 kids at least over there that have type 1 diabetes, so there was a natural innate curiosity about it. The student council at Union Elementary collaborated with the STEM teacher, Miss Polly Westfall, and with that, they created a fundraiser where it was basically coin buckets for each teacher. The teachers that had the 4 teachers that had the most coins in the bucket by the 3-day fundraiser would receive a pie in the face. Again, trying to bring awareness to type 1 diabetes. And I find it fascinating that in 3 days they raised $3,000 because it was something that was, again, it was something that was naturally interested and something that they were curious about and wanted to bring awareness to. Talking to Amanda after our TAC meeting last month, she said that I think the biggest thing for her was that it sparked interest and important discussions about raising the awareness for type 1 diabetes within her school. The teachers that were selected were Mrs. Calder, Hickman, Walker, and then the SRO officer, Mr. Bradley Kaysen. And again, I think that's awesome that, again, going back to our TAC meeting last month, we talked about the importance of having clear communications with our support staff. So seeing our SRO officer at a school being involved in that speaks volumes to how much they value him and their support staff at Union Elementary. The fundraising facility, or assembly, just some quick snapshots of what that looked like. Again, just seeing the joy in some of those kids' faces as they're throwing pies in their teachers' faces made my day, just seeing these pictures that Amanda shared with me a few weeks ago. And again, it's just hearing our students, and it's nice, you know, as from a teacher, hearing our teacher concerns, but also seeing that we are hearing our students as well. The other topic we talked about was the possibility of another teacher rally in Raleigh or potential walkouts. The last thing from NCAE, the North Carolina Association of Educators, was that they were gauging surveys to see how many teachers would actually walk out of a classroom. And with collaboration with Dr. Oates, Ms. White, and our TAC committee, we try to come up with an alternative, not the alternative, but just a possible solution or a possible option that we could potentially do for this upcoming spring. The proposal was to send 2 representatives from each school, provide substitutes for those teachers, and transportation through Brunswick County schools. And when we discussed this, the benefits of that, we have that student-first mentality. We're hopefully keeping our schools in session so we can have our students in school. And then there's a collaboration between our teachers and Brunswick County schools. And I know for me, that's probably the biggest incentive with this option, is that you're able to work with the school system rather than just walking out and leaving. But I think another thing too to point out is it's another option for teachers. Being in the trenches, so to speak, every day, there are teachers that are passionate and that feel like the numbers are strong, and I completely support that. But you also have another perspective of teachers that feel like we want to put our students first and don't feel as comfortable calling in to leave. So I think this is a good option, again, not the option, but a good option to provide for our teachers. And that is all I have. It is important to note that next month I will be at NCAT, and one other update from TAC was, I don't know if you remember back in January, we talked about the need for intramurals at the early college. Sarah Osborne brought that to our attention from TAC, and as of, actually it's tomorrow, March 6th, at Pender Early College, our early college will be competing for the Coastal Plains Cup. It's an intramural basketball program, at least initially it's starting for basketball, that they'll be competing for tomorrow in Pender County. And she'll be here next month in my absence to kind of follow up on that and to give you any additional feedback from TAC from this month's meeting. Are there any questions you have for me? It's getting a little easier each time. I appreciate your attention. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Garsher, and please thank the TAC committee as well for their input. Mr. Foster?
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you again in regards to teacher recruitment and compensation. something that's near and dear to my heart and to yours as well. We did have an opportunity at Operations Committee a couple of weeks ago to talk through some of this. I've made a couple of adjustments to it based on some of the feedback and would like to review that with you as well. Again, it's to provide ideas and options that we think would positively impact the recruitment and retention of teachers here in the Brunswick County Schools. And we compiled these options from a collection of ideas through a variety of resources. Our first option is basically to increase the supplement, and this is where we made a slight change in what we had originally shown. And this one incorporates a slight difference between the amount that we increased the bachelor's degree supplement, the master's degree supplement, and then adding a little bit more for an advanced degree or a doctorate degree. So in this scenario, the increase the supplement for teachers paid on the bachelor scale by $1,000 per year. For those paid on the master's scale, we would increase that by $1,100 per year. For those on the advanced degree scale, which is the 6-year degree scale, it's by $1,200 per year. And then on the doctorate scale, going up by $1,300 per year. Now, currently, we differentiate between the bachelor's degree schedule and the master's degree schedule only. And we do by an additional $200 per year for the master's degree is what our current supplement guidelines call for. And I'll show you that in the next slide. So on the right-hand side of this, you see the current range for our supplement based on the years of service. Again, those years of service are as they are established currently on our teacher salary schedule. On the far right-hand side, where it shows the current range, for a bachelor's degree and 0, 1, 2, or 3 years of experience, our teachers get $2,600 a year in local supplement. If they have a master's degree, an advanced degree, or a doctorate degree with 0 through 3 years of experience, they would get $2,800 per year. As you move over to the left-hand side there where it says new range, we're increasing the bachelor's degree supplement by $1,000 per year, so it goes from $2,600 to $3,600. The master's degree would go from $2,800 to $3,900. Then the advanced degree would go to $4,000, and the doctorate degree would go to $4,100 as their annual supplement. And as you go down that current range and new range based on their years of service, that same scenario is played out throughout the schedule. With respect to costs, you will see there the current costs with benefits at each years of service range, and then you would see the increase or the increased cost. That would be the total increased cost with benefits, and down at the bottom of each one of those is the total. So we're currently paying right at $4 million in local supplement, including benefits, and with the adjustment, we would be paying right at $5.15 million in supplements and benefits, an increase of approximately $1.2 million. So again, the financial impact, it would cost an additional $1.2 million annually. It would provide more competitive pay for all of our teachers, and it would have an immediate impact on the recruitment and retention of all the teachers in the district. This would make us competitive with all of the North Carolina counties in the area and at the lower levels of our salary schedule, even with our neighbors in South Carolina. So far as beginning teacher salaries, we would be up through about 5 to 8 years of experience. We would still be pretty competitive with even Horry County. Now, Horry County goes up pretty significantly as they get higher in the experience range, but we would be competitive with them up through that range. So far as disadvantages, other than the additional costs, there's really no disadvantages to this. The teachers feel valued across the board, and we're able to recruit and retain the teachers that we need here in Brunswick County.
Did we not already vote on this at the last meeting, and then so you're altering what we already approved at the last meeting? We did that as an action item, approved it to be followed and implemented?
We made we made the increase a priority to just make a budget priority.
And we added on masters and doctors, which we weren't gonna do, an additional money for those six people who have a doctorate degree over. We had not discussed increasing it for masters, and the scale was the same. We were just gonna add 1,000 on everybody's, and now we're now differentiating further education.
What this is just another option.
Okay. Well, we already approved one option though, correct?
No, we didn't approve it.
It was requested.
It was just for
change
them
it a
to,
little bit.
We may supplement increase a priority for the upcoming budget.
Suggestion at this point.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
Our
We didn't vote.
recommendation are just different options.
Where we vote to make it a top priority.
Correct.
we did,
That's what
to
we
make it a
voted,
top
make it
priority.
We still have to vote to approve whatever the final list.
Right.
Yes.
Correct. That's correct.
With the
So
budget
this is just an update on the last set of suggestions.
Another option. Correct.
and the pay differentiation that you've adjusted since
That's
that meeting.
correct. That adjustment was made to the option. That's
I
correct.
thought it was interesting the other day when Dr. Sullivan saw this presentation for the first time, and he basically said in his mind that flat-out supplement as it was wouldn't do anything for recruitment, but the item increasing for degrees would. So with that in mind, I'm in favor of what you're doing, because if any way we can increase doctorates, masters, advanced degrees, even though this is minor, what do we have, 10 doctorates in the whole system? So you're talking $3,600, which is minor money if we can get recruitment benefits out of that. Or advanced degrees,
Retention.
and retention. So a doctorate makes $500 more. That's not a lot of money. But if that helps you in recruiting, I'm all for it. So,
Thank you.
Have we got funds identified for the funding of this?
We are starting the process. Ms. Curtis, we're working with Capital first, but we are just starting to gather all of that. And we've got the list to actually start going over on Monday in Cabinet. So, but it looks promising.
The second option is the same as we presented before, a $2,000 per year recruitment and retention incentive for our critical staff areas or hard-to-staff areas of math and exceptional children, teachers. The details of that are all new hires into middle school or high school math positions, and all current middle school and high school math teachers with proficient performance in the prior year would be eligible for the incentive. Same thing with the exceptional children's teachers, all new hires, as well as all current EC teachers with proficient performance would be eligible. And we would administer that by providing an additional $200 per month recruitment and retention incentive based on the 10-month employment year. And that way, we're not paying out the $2,000 up front and then something happening during the school year. We basically pay it as they earn it, and that would allow them to continue to be retained. The incentive would be stopped while an employee is on a leave of absence or is on a performance plan, either a monitored or directed plan. Again, another reason for spreading it across the year. The financial impact of that would be $440,631 based on our current 173 teachers. We did have 5 vacancies when we pulled that, so a total of $453,366 to implement the $2,000 per year bonus or incentive for our math and EC teachers. Our advantages are that it does directly address both the recruitment of new teachers and the retention of current teachers in our highest need areas. The disadvantage may be that there would be some teachers that would feel less valued as a result of this. We have kicked around some ideas associated with that to provide people the opportunity to add those areas if they were interested in teaching EC and getting the additional $2,000 incentive, or if they were interested in teaching math, maybe looking at paying for their practice tests or that type of thing, if that was what it took to add those areas, if they were interested in becoming EC teachers or math teachers. And again, that would help us with our recruitment and retention as well, if we had more of a supply of applicants. Third option, again, advanced degree supplements. The goal would be to recruit and retain teachers with advanced degrees into all teaching areas by paying them on the advanced degree salary schedule regardless of when they earn their degree. Again, this is a nuance in the way that the state has implemented salary schedules over the years. Back in 2013, when there was a drastic change to the teacher salary structure in the state of North Carolina, the state or the legislature approved the new salary schedules, but as part of that indicated that anybody earning a master's degree who did not start their first course towards a master's degree or an advanced degree by August 1st of 2013, they would not be eligible for pay on the higher salary schedules. They would be paid on the bachelor's degree schedule. Anybody that had started their degree prior to August of 2013 and continued on and got their master's degree, or had completed their degree prior to that, they would be eligible for the higher level salary schedules that had been previously implemented at the state level. What this suggests as an option is, for that period of time since 2013, there have been a number of people who have obtained advanced degrees, master's degrees in teaching that are not getting compensated for those. And if we were to take that on and say, well, it doesn't matter to us when you got that degree, we're still going to compensate you as the master's degree or advanced degrees that were earned prior to that, then I think that it would certainly provide us with a higher capacity or a higher number of advanced degree folks interested in working with us, because to my knowledge, there's not another district in the state that's doing this right now. The details of it, basically any teachers that come to us or that are currently with us that have an advanced degree that aren't getting paid on it because of when they started the degree, we would pay that as an extra local supplement. So as a master's degree, that's a 10% difference in pay from bachelor's to master's. And so if we've got 50 people who have master's degrees that were not eligible under the state guidelines, we would end up paying those 50 people 10% more because they've got their master's degree. We could do this for a piloted period of time, suggested 3 years, to determine if it's effective and also to determine the cost trend. And the reason I mention the cost trend is because that may increase over time. Right now, we can calculate the ones that we currently have, and then we can estimate how many we might add as a result of implementing this supplement. But just the ones that we currently have would cost us right at $200,000. But even with that, those folks would be a lot less likely to go to another district because the other districts aren't paying that extra supplement. Now, this second one is the piece that gets us a little bit, is that we don't really know how to estimate how that might grow from year to year. Because just because you have a master's degree and you apply doesn't mean that you're going to get the job. We're still going to select the best candidate for the job, the best fit for the job. But it would increase our pool, I think, with more people with the master's or advanced degrees. The advantages of this provides an immediate recruitment and retention impact for the teachers with advanced degrees. Current teachers in this category would be more likely to stay because they can't get it from if they go somewhere else. New teachers would be likely to come here or come from other districts because they're not getting that additional pay in their current districts. And our pay system would actually be more equitable because people with the same criteria or same credentials would be on the same schedules. And then finally, as an education agency, we value education. Again, the difficulties, it is difficult to estimate the potential cost in the long term, and if we were not able to continue it after a piloted period, there could be some potential morale issues of people that came here or people that are losing pay as a result of not being able to continue that supplement. And finally, were there any questions on those first three? Option 4 is just a certified employee longevity plan. Again, back in 2013, the General Assembly revised the teacher salary schedules, and as part of that, teachers are no longer eligible for longevity. The longevity dollars were poured into the salary schedules for the teachers to the new salary schedules. So what this would do would be establish a longevity plan for our certified employees. It would be based on their length of service in certified employment with Brunswick County Schools, and this is just an option of what that might look like and what the cost of that might be. The financial impact for those 443 teachers, about $372,000. It would be a retention. It should enhance retention of teachers in the district because other districts that I'm aware of don't have longevity plans for teachers. It's certainly not something that's a part of the state plan. The disadvantages would be that it would require a considerable amount of manual research to ensure that we've got everybody's longevity service as a Brunswick County school teacher or Brunswick County school certified employee calculated appropriately, because we'd have to develop a way to do that. And those are the options. The priority recommendations were the supplement increase, the critical staff incentives, advanced degree supplements, and the teacher longevity plan, and those are the dollar amounts associated with those. Again, thank you for letting me present those options.
Thank you, Mr. Foster. Discussion, board members?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. At this time, we'll look at the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
I was going to,
I'm sorry.
that's okay,
I withdraw.
can you rescind your motion?
I withdraw.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to add 2 items. One would be 2 action items. One would be a contract addendum for HVAC. And the second action item would be a change order for Town Creek Elementary and Middle School.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so motion's been made. We have a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, we'll add those 2 items to the agenda. And when we look at the consent agenda now, I'm sorry, excuse me, we need to do the approval of minutes at this time for February 4th, regular meeting, February 18th, Operations Committee, February 18th, Curriculum Policy Committee, and February 18th, Finance and HR Committee. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion
Mr. Benton and Mr. Miller, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. On the consent items for approval, we have Math 180, three-year extension proposal. We have audit contract renewal and budget amendments. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, Ms. Cook
Second.
and Mr. Lemon, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, now for the action items that we added to the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve those?
Should I speak to it for just a minute?
I'm sorry?
Should I speak to it?
Please.
Okay. The first one is HVAC Star Plus. This is a contractor we're working with for HVAC services. Currently, the board has approved $85,000 with that vendor, and there's additional work that needs to occur, and that pushes the threshold over for the board needs to approve the amendment. And we're recommending that this be approved tonight so this work doesn't stop. This raises the contract price to $156,000. Yes, yes.
Okay, Mr. Benton has made a motion to approve. Second?
Second.
And Ms. Cook, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, and the next one, Ms. Kay?
I believe Mr. Eckert is going to speak to that one.
Okay, Craig.
Good evening. I have in front of the board a change order, a $0 change order. It involves closing out Town Creek Elementary and also extending the canopy at Town Creek Middle to tie in with the existing canopy at Town Creek Elementary. Originally, that was bid as an alternate by the canopy people. They have held their price, same amount that they had 2 years ago, and the contractor has given us a cost to have the canopy installed and also to install the footings. Footings very big due to the wind load, so that's the $80-some thousand you see for footings. Also included in the change order is a credit from Town Creek Elementary of $123,000 for general conditions not used. Those general conditions were transferred back to Town Creek Middle School into the owner's allowance as is contractually allowed. So what we have is essentially a $0 change order and the closing out of Town Creek Elementary and a couple of pluses and minuses you see on the log sheet. We're requesting that this be approved, even though there's no dollar change to the contract. It involved a large sum of money.
So we have no dollar change, but will there be any other shortages created by moving this money at all?
No, we still have approximately $200,000 built into the contract. Currently, I anticipate that there should be no problem of closing out the job within the contract amount.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Eckert. At this time, we will have discussions and/or announcement by the superintendent and board members.
Begin with some announcements. I want to extend congratulations to our Instructional Technology Director, Acacia Dixon. Ms. Dixon has been named the 2020 North Carolina Technology Director of the Year by North Carolina Public Schools and North Carolina Technology in Education Society for her work in integrating technology within instruction. So that's a big deal for Acacia and for us. She's not here, but I think she's still at the conference, but she did get the award, and like I said, that's a big deal. To have her here with us speaks volumes for the work that she does. The North Carolina Teaching Working Conditions Survey is underway. The window is open for certified staff March 2nd through 31st. This year, schools with 100% participation are entered into a $1,000 drawing, and we're encouraging all schools to participate. And of course, as you know, this survey comes around every 2 years. I think we have one school maybe now, that's Cedar Grove, that is at 100% participation already, and they may have achieved that last week. Earlier, the first day. They had 100% participation on the first day, so kudos to them. Also, we wanted to give you some, we sent out communication regarding coronavirus this week. So we've sent the communication to the district to further educate and inform about any concerns. I've been in communication with the Brunswick County Health and Human Services Department, and of course received frequent updates from state and federal agencies to address any concerns. As you know, there's been one confirmed case in Wake County, but as we do for any communicable disease, we urge parents to keep sick children home, and for sick employees and staff to remain at home as well, to cut down on transmitting any type of communicable disease, as we have done with the flu and now with coronavirus as well. Lastly, just want to give you a very quick update. I spoke with Larry Smith yesterday regarding the reverse osmosis update. Both systems in both schools are operating flawlessly, and we are awaiting lab results that should come in on Monday to give you that information as to the testing results that we received. So everything's looking promising with those machines, and then we'll make a decision.
Used a lot.
That's part of the data that we'll get to see how much usage is actually coming out of those two machines. So right now, we're not hearing anything negative. So it's looking promising on those fronts. That's all I have.
Will we get that at committee meetings?
Yes, okay. You'll have that at committee.
Okay. At this time, I'll entertain a motion for closed session.
So moved. As stated on the agenda.
Okay.
Second.
Mr. Miller's made the motion, and Ms. Cook has seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We'll take a 5-minute break.